We have arrived for episode 102 here in the challenge series. As I said, I'm living in a new place. Actually, it's an old place, but regardless, um, that slowed down production a tiny bit, as moving tends to do. But we return with the first race coming to a very foggy, deep forest. Kind of reminds me of the conditions of the track if you were to play on it in the original Gran Turismo. It was always dark and misty. It was clearly like late evening and almost seemed haunted. Not haunted, as far as I'm aware. But the 600 class will be running a shortened race here to kick off the episode. And we are green from almost a dark forest. I mean, currently, yes, but that's not what it's called. Deep forest is away, and the four-wheel drive advantage of Miura's Atenza puts him directly in the race lead. And he is already kind of driving away with it a tiny bit. I hinted last week at the sort of slight overhaul that Mercury Racing's collection of vehicles will soon be getting. And the vast majority of that has already taken place. You can see two examples of it in the background already. Umi now possesses a Mini Cooper, the livery that's not too different from her Audis. Reen has a C3 Corvette convertible with very low horsepower, but still a heck of a lot more than most of the cars on this track. Kotori has her old Alfa Romeo Mito that she had a while ago, and just scraped a bit of paint off of it. Where... That it? This one there's another. And I guess it's just Reen, Kotori, and Umi. We are currently on board as contact is being made with Reiko Mishima in her 240Z. Kind of getting cut off by Lily Rose, as Kotori has to duck into the pits, so not a great start for her old new car. I don't know why she took so long to bring that thing back out, to be honest. It's not like, it isn't like Ellie's Carrera GT where if that was destroyed, Kotori, I guess, just didn't feel like using it right away or something. I'm not entirely certain. The other two new Mercury machines are running 4-5, trying to find a way around the EK Civic of Shoji Hakure. In the background, Reiko is sliding in between traffic cars. Basically what they look like at this point. They're not literally traffic cars, but whether she's passing them, it's effectively the same. Sneaks up the outside of the Corvette. Superior cornering will come into play right there. She will nab 5th place, possibly, although she's very wide at the hairpin. And on the straightaway, that Corvette will, I thought would have a better chance of pulling away, but I guess apparently not. Outdrags the Mini, and outdrags the EK Civic. Can she outbrake it though, which it looks like she will. Into 3rd place, missing the hairpin though, and Umi crosses over after getting ahead of the Civic, but the way that she exited the hairpin gives her the advantage, even if she technically missed the turn. Onto the front stretch again, past the halfway mark of the race. Looking for a move on Rise, and that should be pretty easy, although rear-end contact heading into the turn. This will be the first time that Rise has had a run-in with Reiko or with her girlfriend. With her girlfriend? With her boyfriend. Why do I always do that? I'm like, oh, it's the friend of the girl. Oh my god, she's about to be a friend with the repairman. That was a loud contact for no reason. What even happened there? Oh, Rise just shoved her into the grass, and she overcorrected the car. That is a really loud hit. Did she hit a wall or a bomb, like a landmine? Although really she came over into Rise. I think she tried to wreck Rise, but Rise's 208 resisted the contact, and her 240 did not. So that's a very destroyed car right there. That's a very expensive mistake from Reiko. The heat of the moment, probably ticking her off. She probably remembers when Rise wrecked her boyfriend's car, the Sylvia that literally just drove by, but got fixed at the last minute by Siegfried Brandt. And wasn't about to get run over by her again, but sure enough, wasn't her choice. And as you can see by the yellow flag there, that ended the race. So Kunimitsu Miura is going to be given the win. A podium on the debut of Umi's Mini, and Rise will hang on for that second place. Ring with fourth. Yeah, downside to the new living space. My mom is a lot closer to me, so she'll pick up a lot easier on the mic, so just try to ignore that. I can't do anything about that now. Yeah, that is an L. Alright, race 2 has arrived. We head to evening Dragon Trail Seaside. It's funny we even have to specify the Seaside layout, because we will never be using the Gardens layout. I absolutely despise that track. None of those corners make any sense. But they make sense here, and that's what counts. It is funny how Dragon Trail, to me, is the standout original circuit from GT Sport and 7. But the Gardens layout is one of the worst from, one of the worst offerings. And unfortunately that comes in a game full of GT Sport, or GT7's, basically GT7 doesn't have a lot of great original tracks. That's what I'm trying to say. Like St. Croix, Sardinia Road, Alsace, however you say that. Kyoto is decent, Dragon Trail is decent, and that's basically it. So, Blue Moon Bay's infield layouts are okay, but that's not saying much. Anyway. And the green light is somewhere. Oh, there it is, in the middle of the screen. Dumb. We are away from Dragon Trail. Emi Ibarazaki in her front-wheel drive Integra gets off the line at basically a crawl. But she's already making her way through a few other cars into turn 1. Literally making her way through somebody, for that matter. The overhaul of Mercury's car selection continues to show with, I believe, Honoka now has an FK8 Civic. It's a bit of a Mugen type livery on it, which, it makes sense. Look at the hood and the side. And then, slight difference on Reen's Camaro, other than the fact that it's been downgraded to 640 class. And then Ellie's formerly blue Porsche has now become white. My word, Jingwei is running away already. 3 wide, Emi goes with both Reen and Kogasa, who we haven't seen that E-Type in a while, I would say. Emi gets cut off at the exit. Once again, another race where the Scorchers crew are in full display, as all 3 of them with the car in this class are running, and, well, one of them is in 2nd, and then the others are in 11th and 12th. So they'll go 3 wide again, almost. Kogasa doesn't quite get alongside Reen and Emi. Emi will have the better exit. Now, whether she can keep that Camaro behind on the front straightaway is another question entirely, though. Although it looks like she got such a good exit that she's actually going to just straight up pass Ellie instead. Happy birthday, Ellie. For your birthday gift, you get dusted. Bit of an aggressive turn 1 from Emmy, not Ellie. I almost slipped up there. She's got 2 Super Bees to overtake, and she's going to try her luck at the first one here. Jeremiah Woods, who's not shown up in a while, and the rest maybe a little evident there with the way they just got absolutely embarrassed in that section. But Taro is as practiced as ever, so this one may not be so easy for Emmy. Try the outside of the Super B, use that Integra's better handling to her advantage, and then covers off any attempts that Taro might have made at a crossover move. And now she has to make up that 4 or 5 second gap to the Genesis that leads the race. Meanwhile, Jeremiah Wood takes advantage, and he'll also get ahead of his fellow Super B driver, and into 3rd place. Reen and Kogasa are still fighting for position, even though the position is now 6th rather than 5th. As we hit onto the front straightaway to start lap 3, Emmy has basically caught the lead in Hyundai at Stringway. I think she preferred to take that little kink flat there. And despite Jingwei's attempt to resurge at the apex, Emmy will dive bomb successfully. And now she'll try to get away. Might not be easy. The Integra is pretty underpowered in this category, and this would be a pretty big moment for her if she can actually bring home the bacon, so to speak, because this would pretty much be her first good finish of the season. Like, even if she doesn't win, if she just gets 2nd, I think that'd be a dramatic improvement over how she's been racing lately. Ever since Atomic, even really before it did. Because the bad results was half the reason why Atomic Blonde fell under. Wasn't meeting expectations, and wasn't really raising any capital to really justify it remaining active. But basically since like the midpoint of Season 2, Emmy has not done a whole lot. Probably the first time she's seen the race lead in literal months. I wouldn't even be surprised. It seems that Reen has at least gotten a little bit of breathing room away from Kogasa. She's now on the back of Taro, his pace has not been exemplary today, to say the least. Although Kogasa and Taro's teammate Vert are also right there. Basically nose-to-tail heading down the front straightaway. And more than that, Kogasa's going to try and get ahead of Reen for like the 5th time. On this occasion, she'll get it. Does she get Taro too? I don't know. She got alongside, but now Taro has the better line. Doesn't matter. E-Type has a way better grip. It was a very calculated move from Tatara to get into 4th. She started in 8th, I think. And speaking of, Vert started in like 12th, so he's done well to make up the swap he has to all but catch up to his teammate Taro in that truck. Barbara is also kind of in the background, but not really. I forgot when he was getting in this race. Honoka's Civic not a great debut. Basically the last of the cars that took no damage in the race, I think. But that might be Ruby. I had a bit of an oopsie and drove into the back of, I think it was Carrara. Locked the brakes. Not great on my end, to say the least. What has been great on her end is Emmy's performance here from Dragon Trail. One more run through the death chicane at the harbor. And one more corner to complete, and she'll take what is probably her first win in close to a year. Like, I wish I was kidding. It's been a very long time for her. Out of that last turn, and here she comes across the start-finish straight. Victory for VTEC. Jingwei with 2nd place. Jeremiah Wood grabs an impressive third at the last minute. Not really at the last minute. Actually, he'd been there the whole time. I don't know what I'm talking about. I saw that because of Kogasa's fourth at the last minute. That's why I flubbed. And Vert actually got to fifth. He got ahead of both Rin and Taro. So, impressive showing from him and from Kogasa. And from Emi. Definitely a bit of an off day for certain drivers. Taro, this is not a race he'll want to remember. I can assure you of that. And for most of Mercury, I mean, goodness me. I mean, Rin did okay, but you should have had more. Umi and Ellie, 9th and 10th. Honk down here in 14th, and then me and Nico getting damage very early on. Clearly, there is no strength in numbers. Despite what everyone tries to tell you, it is a complete lie. But what is not a lie is the third race of this episode. The midway point of the week, end of the episode, takes us to Lake Maggiore Circuit, the other really good original circuit. We're really hitting all of the original tracks up this week, huh? The whole original purpose was all Europe. All European circuits, but instead, we ended up doing literally the first 3 races of the week at original circuits. I assure you, the last 2 are not original courses. They are real-life tracks. Not that it really matters to anybody, I don't think. I'm of the mind that it could probably do every single race at Grand Valley, and I don't think me nor Thrasher would really care. But, yeah, every race in this episode takes place at a European circuit. We've already hit, we've already visited, Switzerland, Croatia, and now Italy, so. And we are green, and holy four-wheel drive Batman. Yeah, that's quite an advantage. Honoka's 2017 NSX makes its return after being out of the series for a while. Basically for the whole of Season 2. Obviously because they were gone for half of Season 2. It looks slightly different. The plain white roof stripe has now turned into 5 really tiny ones. We've also managed to convince Andy Summers to just be referred to as Sea Falcon on the leaderboard. Easier for me to remember. Rin, along with her C3 Corvette, is also debuting a C7 Corvette in the 715 category. Then we have Carrie Mellum in a very Minnesota Vikings Dodge Viper. I don't see the Vikings logo on the car anywhere, but I can't look at this and not think of them as a Minnesotan. And Kotori also brings an Alfa Romeo Giulia to the series, or but she brings the car, not to the series. There's already one here. In fact, it's 2 places up the road. But it's her teammate Ellie that is the focus driver of this race, and she is stuck in some traffic. Like Mom and Thrasher were in the way, and then she just literally broke that R8's ankles. And got ahead of Mellum while she was at it. Who also has damage to both ends of his car. I'm not really sure how that happened. So he drives into the back of Francesca, and Stephanie Kaiser drove into the back of him. Alright. That was kind of lame. So Francesca and Stephanie also both have damage. Oh, a little bit of, give her mother a little bit of a push. That was a noise. Honoka had a good launch, but she hasn't gotten very far away from Falcon. I think Liza got it a little bit wrong on the brakes there. Nearly spun the car out, trying to keep Ellie away. A small Porsche duel, I suppose. Although I can assure you Ellie has no interest in racing for Porsche AT, for obvious reasons. They nearly collide at the apex, but it's kept clean, surprisingly. And once they arrive at the hairpin, Ellie is well clear of Eliza. Not quite. That's just they combine into one person. I guess. I don't know. Looks as though Captain Falcon has a good shot here if he can keep his tires on the ground. I suppose he probably isn't used to being on the ground at all, so maybe he's better off in the air. In the background, she's got a really good run here out of those little S's. And Cam literally got out of her way. He's like, well, I'm not keeping that behind me. He'd rather try and keep the other Mercury driver behind him, and that didn't work either. Cam just got mugged on that straightaway as Reen also moves into the top 5 ahead of him. Oh, Bird had so much understeer there, and Elias came in, well, didn't. Looking at it, Captain Falcon as well, down the inside of the mono. The camera is not helping, and she's ahead. Looking at the faded duel here. Ellie versus Honoka to try and run away with the lead here, Lake Maggiore, as we begin the penultimate lap. A little later on the brakes for Honoka, but yeah, that's enough actually. I thought it wouldn't be enough because Ellie had the inside, but no, Honoka swept on the outside. Ellie has crossed Honoka over about 3 times now. It just hasn't amounted to anything. Make it a 4th crossover from the Cayman driver. Still nothing. Oh, never mind. No, that definitely is something, actually. That is a bit of a run down towards the hairpin. And light braking. Nope. Honoka still sweeps on the outside. So Ellie had the better overall exit. Never mind. Honoka slams into her blind spot moment. And we still haven't decided a victor. But Ellie has the inside there, and finally finishes the move on her team owner. Took long enough, and probably lost him a fair bit of time. The lucky Falcon wasn't any closer at the end of that. Oh, big contact. Well, Falcon just lost his machine, but that didn't do any damage to Honoka's NSX somehow. Probably because she got hit with what's essentially the racing version of a paper airplane. That machine's body rating is E, even if it should be a B. F-Zero jokes, go! Never even played an F-Zero game before. I don't have the means to. Captain Falcon about to pit for that damage, I take it. That'll put Vert in the podium positions, but Reen is right there to grab that away if she can get late on the brakes here into 1 and can keep Cam away. Oh, there's contact made again. The 2 Chevy drivers come to blows multiple times at the apex. And Cam is just watching and probably licking his lips. The damage won't mean they have to pit though. This is the final lap. Hey, I won't do that. We're not that dumb. Surprisingly. Sweeps on the outside. The Mercury drivers have been doing that all day today, apparently. Not that I know, I wasn't in this race. That Kerry guy, he gives me some awkward vibes. From all the way back in 19. I forgot about this, but I feel like this was worth mentioning. I had that moment. Man, it is a clusterfuck back here. All the way from about 6th place, Liza Kaiser leads a I don't even know, a parade around the track of 9 cars. Basically, everybody that hasn't been damaged in this race isn't in the top 5, is in this train behind the 959 driver. But her defensive skills are just enough to keep all of these cars away. And it is looking like an absolute just gridlock through here. We got 2 Alfa Romeo Giulias fighting for the scraps. We had, I think, Eric was off track there, trying to get ahead of Thrasher, and possibly understeered off in the process. Most of that is irrelevant, as Ellie makes one last high-speed turn. Very edge of the racetrack. I'm recording this on the character's actual birthday, October 21st, so it seems only appropriate that she will get a big victory. And it is a Mercury 1-2-3 to make up for yesterday, as Honoka and Reen come through behind her, 2nd and 3rd. We're at 4th, Cam 5th, and Liza will somehow keep that train at bay. The weather here is miserable. We start this race just after a heavy rainfall here from Red Bull Ring, as apparently somebody slammed a guitar upstairs or something, I don't know. Yeah, Red Bull Ring, the track is still very wet, even if the windshields aren't. We are on board with Kevin Begstrom, lucky to still have a car after what happened last week at Kyoto to him. I don't know how that thing still runs. Among the changes for Mercury representing in the 675 category, Nozomi has a new paint job on her Mustang. Honoka has, well, a slightly different paint job on her NSX, which is to say, oh, her roof's now blue. Big difference there. But Reen, this marks the return of her old 2015 Camaro that she ran in the original first season. Now upgraded to 675, which is why her Z28 was moved down. Oh yeah, Maki got a redesign as well, going from completely gold, which was a little tacky, even she was aware of it. Now the gold is more of an accent. There's a lot of it, but it's still an accent. Same with that old maroon that she used to have. But now primary black makes it look kind of like a Thrasher car, but not really. I don't know if he'll like that comparison. Kotori's car looks slightly different. The colors are a little brighter. And Nico, her Supra looks very different. It's gone from primary black to primary silver. I guess, I don't know, like, I guess she just likes, you know, form over function type of thing. I mean, like, this car isn't functional, but she likes to redesign it. She's playing Need for Speed over here. And while Haneo's car itself doesn't look dramatically different, it does have a new sponsor in the form of AMT. The same sponsor that's on the side of Kevin Begstrom's M3. Yeah, AMT really like their BMWs, so when they agreed to cooperate with Mercury under an endorsement system, or, you know, sponsor the team, I don't know why I worded it that way. When they offered to sponsor the Mercury Racing and DPT Alliance, putting in some decent money, they basically said, like, don't even worry about it unless it's a BMW. So we have the one BMW on this team for the moment, unless Haneo gets another car from them in the future. It might happen, not sure. Yeah. The blue does clash a little bit, but, you know. I don't know, does it? It kind of feels like it's got a bit of a... I don't know. I can't be sure. I don't know if that's a clash or if that's just a neat accent contrast. I don't know. But what I do know is... the race is now green. Yeah, even though there isn't really rainfall, the rain has not at all evaporated and it is still very cloudy. so it's not going to evaporate. I can only imagine this is about to be an absolute travesty into turn 3 at the top of the hill. There's already a lot of small contacts that happen under good conditions. Unless the rain's made everybody more cautious somehow, which would be very ass-backwards if you were to ask me. But, oh, never mind. A barber got smacked around by rain, apparently. And she drove into the back of what looks like Maki, just based on context clues. Kevin had quite a start. Substitute doesn't even have four-wheel drive to his advantage. She's already up into 10th. Possibly 9th, down the inside of the Kellogg's GTO of De La Cruz. Kevin's had a pretty lengthy racing career, so he does know how to handle the rain, even in a rear-wheel drive car. Oh, the rain has started falling again. Oh, word. Oh my god, it's a downpour at this part of the track. Never mind. I say this like I wasn't there. Oh man, hang on to her, Kevin. This is like the very razor's edge between when it's considered too much rain to be safe to race. Oh yeah, a Congo line of 5 cars suddenly make that turn into the pit lane. Nitsuri being one of them, that's a big player out because she loves rain racing and she's now been taken right out of contention here. Along with so many other cars. A little bit of aggressive braking from Kevin. He seems to have more confidence on the brakes than everybody else does here right now. And he will grab 7th from Nico, short shifting and everything to try and get even a little bit of traction on what might as well be an Austrian skid pad at this point. Sebastian stuck in just a mess of German cars here as Kevin, I think, maybe misses his braking a little bit. Gets to the inside of Stephanie as a complete surprise attack. Can he convert though as he struggles to find grip? He's stuck on the outside and stuck behind Koizumi. Now we very slowly make our way around the corner, but Kevin's ahead of multiple cars. Oh my god, he's caught him sleeping at the wheel. Haneo and Liza and Charlotte all in one move, if we can find grip on the exit of this third to last turn. Yeah, I'd say what the hell. Sebastian, I think, slid around or something, because even Liza got ahead of him on that one. Liza Kaiser has damage though. Oh. Possibly could have come, it has to have come from Sebastian, because Stephanie wasn't near her. Not a bit. My ears are gone. So this is so weird. Sebastian was like paranoid, and so were Liza and Stephanie, and I wasn't ready for that. Nobody was back here. We were all coming out of this turn at full speed, and yeah, I already had damage before, and we're about to see the madness that caused it. What? I don't even know what Michael was doing there. Did he hydroplane? Do you have a problem with this car? I don't know, but Derek was not ready for it, and neither was I. Yeah, so Derek has engine damage. He's lucky to even have a moving car at this point. I have front bumper damage. Michael has back-to-back damage. He somehow got his car to work again. But, Michael just decided he didn't want to stop. I had stopped for whatever the hell is going on up here. It was just a mess. I don't even know. Nico had absolutely no fear though. She saw this big checkup and she just gassed it. She got 3 places in that and avoided all damage. It was kind of funny. Liza nearly spins out trying to turn in. I think that might have been what's happening. They were slowing down to try and make to the pit lane. Because they both had damage at that point. Maybe. My ears are gone again. But that leaves Kevin Begstrom with the lead. after everybody pits and everybody was going really slowly because of puddles, I guess? I will never know. I can only assume it was that Stephanie and Liza were slowing down to get ready to hit the pit lane. But that doesn't seem like a viable excuse for that. One driver who's absolutely having a field day right now seems to be my mom. She's just made a pass for second place, being the only car on the throttle right now. Hanyo is scared shitless. Well, my mom is all-wheel drive, and she's dealt with Minnesota snowfall for her whole life. So, some heavy rain is admittedly not a whole lot. She's down the inside of Nico in the Supra. And just the acceleration, the difference both in acceleration and in just confidence at the gas pedal between her and Nico is just unbelievable. Honda seems to have finally remembered where the throttle is, but not before losing second and third. The rainfall stops again around this point, so doesn't stop Kevin from nearly losing the car on a straightaway. A lot of hydroplaning going on through there. I guess there was a puddle I guess there was a puddle that only those two Porsche drivers really noticed and prepared for. And sometimes I guess what you don't know can't hurt you, and nobody else seemed to know, so it didn't hurt anybody else but those two. Ironically. And then me and Derek and Michael all got pretty badly hurt by it too, but that's besides the point. We are racing in slow motion out here at the moment. But my mom is absolutely not. She is just going to just screech ahead of Kevin Bagstrom. All the traction in the world given to the Audi at the moment. Kevin makes some attempt to stay alongside. But we're going to get to the lowest speed exit on the track. And that Audi is gone. It has been a good day for AMT though. Second, third at the moment. And then also behind the front two, excluding Hikari, who's also got four-wheel drive benefits in that R33, is a literal pack of Mercury drivers. Hanyo, Nico, Nozomi, and Honoka. All in the lane. And for that matter, Maki is in 8th even after getting damage on lap 1. Same with Midori. So they've made returns here. Just with generally pushing the car. And with how slow this front group were taking it earlier, they might catch back up. I'm not even kidding. We're about halfway through the final lap of the race. It's basically remained stagnant, as everybody's just trying to reach the flag and get out of here, really. Although the track is finally drying off, but the rain has officially stopped, and in most places a dry line is forming. A little late for that, I would tend to say, but it's given Kevin a sudden boost of confidence to go after the leader of my mother. Uh-oh. I had a feeling that had some other problems. A huge plume of smoke emerges from that BMW. That didn't look good. Let's see what Kevin saw there as he went to shift. Yeah, engines ain't supposed to do that, and then once the engine seized, there was no grip going anywhere. And that might be it for the M3. He beeps in anger, way off in the distance. The four-wheel drive Audi of my mom will take a commanding victory. And it'll be a Mercury 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. As Nozomi and Hanyo make up the final podium spots. But heartbreak for Kevin, who, with the right, playing his cards right, he could have stolen that win back from my mother, but instead ends up with a blown motor. I'm not sure how AMT is going to respond to that. He's not out of the series, because he still has his Z4 GT3 that he competes in the 750 class every once in a while. But the M3, that's going to need a whole new engine, and probably some other new components too if that thing is going to get fixed. It is a relatively new car, so you could probably find replacement parts made by BMW, or something. Not sure entirely, but chances are certainly higher than with other cars that have been destroyed lately. But on to the final race. Yeah, we still have another race in this episode. We still have to do the we still have to do the roulette race. Rain with dead last. That Camaro has not matched these conditions at all. And then everybody else just had a bunch of new paint jobs up here, really. Reen's Camaro was the only new car in this race. Someone must have gotten horribly wrong to it. She finished behind all of those cars. I don't know. Who really knows, I guess, other than probably Reen. And so we arrive at the start of the roulette race. Possibly the weirdest starting grid arrangement I have ever seen. Especially for a roulette race where literally any car could show up on the grid. Except for dirt class. Frickin'... There are 10 cars in this race in the 715 category. And they all but one of them drew the first 9 starting spots on the grid. Stephanie, Francesca, Liza, Francisco, Brian Ice, Fernando, Hans, Mika Harris, and Dom DePrisco. And then we have Yo in 10th, and then Nico, the other Nico, Ellie, Dedrick, Thrasher, myself, Noir, Reen with her new Corvette, Connor Nazang, and the POV driver, Eric Wojcicki, is the only other 715 class car, and he starts in last. Definitely the short end of the stick, but I remember talking to Eric before the race, just because I thought it was funny, and I wanted to see if, how he looked at starting last when everybody else in his category is starting 1st through 9th. And his exact words to me were, "Fine by me. I don't want to be in that clusterfuck up there." Which I thought was hilarious. He's had like the NASCAR plate racing mentality of, I'd rather be last than 11th. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition, and we'll see if that helps him. As we get going from Spa, and the other category is definitely going to be a lot smaller. This is basically going to feel like a second 715 class race here in Spa. Nice audio. Ow. That was really fun to hear in specifically my right eardrum. You've always seen this battle play out a couple of times. Francesca Ferranzi versus Stephanie Kaiser. And Brian Ice is not far away either. That was hardly even worth delaying the recording for. They're 3 wide behind Liza for 5th place, but that'll become 2 wide, and in a moment, probably 1 wide. Eric is already into where he would have started anyway. He's into 9th, looking for 8th against his team owner, Francisco. He gets a nose there, but he can't get the momentum to really go his way. He drives into the side of Francisco. I almost said his dad. No, he's not related to the other Ferranzis. Stephanie has begun to get away, and Brian Ice looks down the inside of Francesca. These two also have history. Pretty much everybody in the top 9 has history with somebody else in the top 9. And then there's Mika Harris, who's just like vaguely relevant to it all. I mean, she knows Dom. That's it. I wouldn't call that having history. She's friends with him. there aren't really a whole lot of friends to go around outside of the others, I don't know, amongst the others. Except for Eric. Nobody really seems to dislike Eric for the most part. At least not anymore. At certain points, people definitely did. But he seems to have that effect on people that makes them just not hate him as much. He's like the main protagonist of like an anime or something. Bright Ice got ahead of Francesca after making the move through Puhan. Liza almost puts Eric on the curb. I think I might have heard a horn beep for that. There was no contact actually made, so technically it's not wrong. In the background, me, Yo, and Dedrick are fighting for the best of the rest, basically. It's the 75 category. Nico is hitting, as is the other Nico. They must have hit each other. Thrasher also has damage. Must have been run into by Reen. I don't know how that even happened. Those cars aren't even in the same categories. There's a bit of a gridlock heading through the first turn at the source for our leader group. Eric gets away scot-free. Fernando trying to keep up, but he can't. And Liza is really just plummeting at the moment. She does not have anything to offer, and she's now under threat from Francisco. But definitely some bad blood there, or even I can tell that much, just from the way that she looks at it. Having a peek alongside, Mika will fill the hole. Fill the space in between cars. Francisco gets ahead in spite of Liza's efforts to make contact with him there. Bit of an Italiano battle for 5th place. Frisco trying to pass Fernando Pedonzi, and he will. Still some ways to go for Eric to get up to the lead 3, but he's definitely closing in. Now, Eric is really wide at Blanchimont, but he manages to keep it relatively planted. You can't really convert into an overtake, though. And Francesco's getting really feisty with Brian Ice. Again, history. We'll see if Eric gets himself involved. He definitely wants to, I can almost assure you. He just can't get the rest of the way there just yet. That might have just changed. Eric has had a great run up Eau Rouge and Radion. He'll get some slipstream off his teammate, and he'll get alongside, and Francesco won't really put up much resistance to the 458 driver. So tuck back in and let Eric take over to see if the two teammates can make some inroads on these lead 2 cars. My lips are super dry, so I keep breathing. No stopping. Eric will try down the inside of Brian Ice. And that camera really did not help, by the way. Look at it again. Yeah, so Eric got along the side and kind of squeezed Brian Ice out on exit there, which allowed his teammate Francesca to cruise on by. So, some team play at work there, basically just mugging Brian Ice down the hill. And now Eric has only one more obstacle. His enemy-turned-ally, Stephanie Kaiser, leads the race. Let's see how they go about this. They've had plenty of run-ins, but I believe they've patched the wounds, and Stephanie went really wide through the S's there, which gives Eric a chance. A chance he's not wasting. He's fighting through both stab blows to try and get ahead of that Carrera. It just hasn't worked, though. Better exit, though. Francesca and Brian Ice still somewhat in the background, but exactly that, the background. Are they going to go too wide through Blanchimont? Are you crazy? They made that work. Stephanie giving Eric a little bit extra room than really was needed. But the lead is now Eric, and Francesca will take full advantage and get them both. And Ice just slammed into Stephanie. Yeah, Francesca's run through Blanchimont was uninhibited, so she just easily cleans up Stephanie and decides, you know what, I'm getting my teammate too. Down the inside goes the F430. Perfectly spotted braking point. Stephanie also really got pushed ahead of Eric by Brian Ice. But that's going to come back to haunt her later, as now they both have damage to their cars. Dom and Fernando did the same thing. What? I didn't even realize this, but Hans Frankfurt has been driving around with damage for 2 whole laps, and here's where it came from. As Liza goes wide at the exit of the first turn, literally on lap 2, she slides across him and gives him a bunch of damage. Dom had a similar issue. He ran into the back of Fernando, and that gave them both damage, and they didn't fix that until just now, at the end of lap 3. So they ran 2 whole laps with all of that damage to their car, and now we'll check back in with the 2 leaders, because, well, basically 2 leaders. Currently it's 4, but give it time, and Stephanie and Brian will be removed from the equation, giving Scuderia Ferranti the easiest checkered flag they'll ever get. Down the inside, Eric goes of the Carrera. Doesn't... I mean, I guess it probably was a very long shot to think he'd get to Francesca in that corner. But back ahead of the Porsche, and now has a good chance at the F430, who's defending. But has actually just straight up missed the turn. That's allowed Eric to easily pass, and allowed Stephanie to just kind of move her, or like, you know, push her way past, really. I was gonna say force, but she didn't really push her away, it just kind of was like, I'm here now, accepted. No damage to the F430 though, so she's still gonna be in a net P2 once Brian and Stephanie deal with their damage. What in the world? Also, major understeer from Eric's Ferrari, but he manages to keep the thing on the road. That would have been a really ugly way to lose the race for him. He just spun out there. I mean, I guess if he kept it off the wall, even if he did spin, he'd probably still be fine. Yeah, as expected, Stephanie got the pass done and everything. But then she had to pit. And so does Ice. Leaving the 2 Scuderia Ferranti representatives to basically cruise into the sunset. And in the infinite amount of hilarity, Mika Harris is now on the podium overall, just by not being in those battles. By not battling with any of the other, you know, Porsche or PSR or Scuderia Ferranti drivers, and just existing. She's gonna get 3rd place from this. And Francisca's gonna be in 4th. So a really big payout for Scuderia Ferranti today. Just by way of, well, as they always do, racing cleanly. Not getting into bullshit with other people. However, the race is over for everybody else that isn't Francisco, Mika, or Francesca and Eric. And Dedrick will be your 675 class winner in a close battle between him, me, and Yo. Stephanie and Brian will just be held in the pits, which is kind of funny. Ellie will win the 640 class, so that's technically your 2nd victory of the week. And the very small 2-car battle in the 600 class will go to Noir. Blanchimont and the bus stop to go. The 2 Ferranti reps nose to tail. Civil as they go about their final lap here at Spa. Eric Wojciechowski, starting last, was clearly the best choice for him, even if it was the choice made for him. He will win from Spa. Francesca 2nd. And Mika caught up in the final lap, but it was too little too late. And old man Fran will be very pleased with today's outing. He gets 4th himself, and his teammates get 1 too.